What's going on, guys? Waco from Revolution here with Constant Kwong, and we're going to do a different type of video today. The theme of today's videos are watches that so unexpectedly kick so much ass that they should be the captain of the ass-kicking category. And that watch in particular is the Roger Dubuis Excalibur Monobalancier 42mm in full titanium. And this was one of the watches that took me really by surprise. You know, it was Watches and Wonders. I was pretty tired. I think it was like the third or fourth day. I ended up in the Roger Dubuis booth with my dear friends over at the brand, and I was presented this watch. And I put it on my wrist, and I just couldn't stop looking at it. And I was like, dude, this thing is phenomenal. And I know that they'd sort of redone the Excalibur a few years ago. They moved to the 42mm size already, but this was a game changer for me for several different reasons. The first reason was it was incredible to wear because the entire watch, case, and bracelet is grade 5 titanium.
Oh yeah.
Effortless to wear. Second of all, it's the first one of these watches that features an integrated bracelet. And the integration of this bracelet is absolutely phenomenal. The bracelet itself is so supple and so easy to wear. And then third of all was the incredible monochrome styling of this watch.
Oh yeah, I totally agree, yeah.
I love the fact that it's just playing with different textures of like metallic finishes, right? Either mirror polished, sandblasted, brushed, whatever. And it kind of almost should be a master class in showing you the different varieties of finishing that you can do on metal.
Yeah, right? I agree, yeah.
So when I looked at this watch also, there was so much visual richness to it. And I love the design of the watch as well. To me, these three main elements that you see underneath the skeletonized dial, the first thing you see is the balance wheel that's vibrating here between 8 and 9 o'clock. Then you see between 10 and 11 o'clock, this fantastic micro rotor that's like spinning around like that, like crazy all the time. And it's non-winding direction, but it's so like kinetic and so like energetic.
It's designed very well as well, yeah.
Absolutely, and then you've got the barrel that's kind of here between 3 and 4 o'clock. And you can instantly see through this star-shaped bridge, this iconic star-shaped bridge, whether or not your watch is wound or not. And all of these elements come together in a watch that from a visual perspective just fucking kicks ass.
I mean, it's
so
really a
much ass.
badass watch.
Right? And then on top of that, which is I love, just tucked away here at 3 o'clock, is the Geneva seal. Right?
Yeah.
So then you realize actually this watch is a Geneva seal watch.
Yes.
So let's kind of go back a little bit, and why do I like this watch so much? Well, it's expressive of what Roger Dubuis does best, right? We talk about singularity, and one of the things that Roger Dubuis does best in the modern era is contemporary skeletonization.
Yeah, right? That's correct. Yeah. I mean, they recently do. I mean, they came up with many different collaborations. I remember the Excalibur series was the next series of the Knights of the Round Table. I remember that, and then they created the Excalibur skeleton, I think, after that. And you know, this is the first one that you mentioned is one of the integrated bracelet.
But okay, you know, let's think about when you think about Roger Dubuis, I think about two different eras of Roger Dubuis, right?
Yeah.
And I was like one of these grumpy old guys that was like, hey, bring back the 90s Roger Dubuis, bring back the 90s Roger Dubuis. And I still love that stuff. But I'm now reconciled to living in the modern world. Like, you know, we just had this whole conversation about some of the watches today that have fully embraced being modern. There's a couple of them, for example, Tag Heuer's new Carrera. Like, I love the fact that it's not trying to be something from the past because I don't want to wear old shit anymore, right? So I love having a modern watches, and I am now very much focused on collecting modern watches. So when I think about Roger Dubuis in the modern era, I think one of the things they did the best was to take skeletonization and move it away from, you know, the old school skeletonization, which was very Baroque with all the kind of like little like, you know, engraved patterns on it and so on like that, and made it like modern, contemporary, edgy, and cool.
It's very conservative as well. Many of the skeletons that we have today, you know, they don't go all out, right? So that's something that I like about Roger Dubuis. They really went bonkers basically with this.
Exactly, but I think that this is a seminal moment for them. This watch is just so pleasant to wear on the wrist. Now, I brought 3 other watches as well, all of which are integrated bracelet watches, all of which are around the same size of this watch as well, which is 42mm, 42mm, and 44mm. And all of these watches are amazing, and all of these watches are in their own way very iconic. But I want to bring them all to show you that they all give you a great experience as an owner, but this is something just phenomenal as well, and something new. All right, so first one up is going to be the Bulgari Octo Finissimo Chronograph GMT.
My
and
God,
you know I love this watch.
Yeah, I love this watch too. You know my love for Bulgari Octos, man. Like, this is a kick-ass watch.
And I would say that this watch is one of the most perfect watches in that it's so easy to wear. It's so effortless because of how thin it is. But in comparison, it is a traditional watch in terms of its two-dimensionality.
Yeah.
In fact, because it's so thin, it almost feels like a two-dimensional watch.
Yeah, and then what we call the people that owns Octo Finissimos, we call it the second skin, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But in comparison, like when you're across the room, so I'll give you this as an experiment. I won't put the watches on the same wrist because we did an entire video about how if you do that, you get slapped.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at these two watches here, like for example, from across the room, that looks like a normal watch. And that looks like some kind of incredible architectural like masterpiece. You're just like, what the hell is going on?
The contrast
there?
of difference is crazy. Yeah.
So the point is that this watch has so much visual richness that from across the room it's just incredibly intriguing, right?
Yes.
It just brings the eye into its depth. Then we've got two more watches. One of which is one of my favorite watches of all time. It is the Royal Oak Offshore, created in 1993.
Yep.
This is the Beast, the original Beast, right?
Yes.
It's not from 1993. It's a limited edition that we created with AP in 2013. And this happens to be piece number 1. And this is one of the most stunning watches of all time as well. But as the name implies, it's a beast because it's so heavy, right?
It's
like
a beast of a watch.
they've actually made this watch in full gold as
Yes,
well.
that's the first beast actually in 1993. It's made in a full white gold and yellow gold.
Yeah, and in that watch, like if you go swimming with that, if you're not a strong swimmer, it could drag you to the bottom of the sea.
you could drown.
Easily, you know. So I would say that while I love this watch as a contemporary watch owner, the effortlessness of wearing something that is so incredibly light, like the new Roger Dubuis Monobalancier 42mm Excalibur, it's a world of difference, right?
It's
just so
definitely,
easy.
I mean, just the weight itself. I mean, you're not losing, in terms of offshore. Offshore is always something that is more like as the name states, it's a beast.
Yeah.
From far on, you will see like, wow, this is a pretty intriguing watch as well.
Yes.
You get the same elements in the Roger Dubuis, but yet so much more comfort.
Comfort as you get older, especially like an old ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like you just,
Hey, no, that's not. I like comfortable watches as well, and titanium is one of my favorite metals.
Thank you.
I mean, the favorite material. So it's great on the wrist.
And this is another watch I love. It has a very special place in my heart as well. This is the Chopard Alpine Eagle chronograph. This movement is insane.
Yeah.
It's a vertical clutch movement operating at 5 hertz, column wheel, and it has a precise jumping minute counter and a date feature as well. Which, incidentally, all you grumpy motherfuckers that don't like dates, I love a date on my watch. Why don't you go back to the 1920s? Right with a like feather and a ink pot.
I think just 1990s will do.
Yes,
you don't really
exactly.
go to back to the 20s, but you get the point.
But this watch is phenomenal. Okay, so if you're one of those guys that doesn't want the date on your watch, this is your watch because there's no date. In fact, it's just got the hour and minutes hands. You can just see the heart of the watch vibrating away with this beautiful gold balance wheel. But to me, it's the perfect package. It's one of those watches that I borrowed this now. I've had it for a couple months. And like when I wake up in the morning, I kind of automatically reach for it, right?
Wow.
And then what's amazing about it is it's really one of those watches you could do everything with. Like I go to the gym with this on. I do the treadmill with it. I do I've ridden the bicycle with it on. I ride my motorcycle with it on as well. I lift weights with it on as well. I was just in Tokyo. It was like super hot there, and you're walking around Harajuku and so on like that. And it's a type of watch that you can wear, and you stop feeling it on your wrist as well, right?
It's a great everyday sports watch.
It's phenomenal. So Roger Dubuis, I got to commend you. The watch is great for its visual richness, for the effortlessness in which it is to wear it because it's so light. It's beautiful finish. So there's monochrome master class in finishing, which is Geneva Sealed certified, incidentally. It's just an absolute joy to wear. Now I've brought watches here, and they're all like 42mm in diameter or larger, and this is a 42mm watch. If there's any one caveat I can add to this, is the following. If Roger Dubuis was to come out with this watch in 40mm, and even slightly thinner than that, it would destroy it.
You will
smash.
You will break the watch world, man.
It
would break the watch world.
People would lose their minds, right? So anyway, in the interim, I feel I'm wearing an important step in the evolution of Roger Dubuis. I feel that this is going to be one of those watches that right now you can probably go get it, but it'll be harder and harder to get.
It's not easy to get it actually. I consulted I have a friend working in the boutique in Roger Dubuis in Singapore. It's sold out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's sold out.
Well, there you
it's
go.
not easy to get it. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure hanging out with you. Roger Dubuis, Excalibur, Monobalancier 42mm titanium grade 5 full bracelet. It absolutely rocks. Actually, as I was saying earlier in the category we're talking about, it kicks ass, and at the moment, it's the king of kicking ass. Peace. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for sharing, man.